This is going to be a lightning talk, but I know that those aren't happening. So here at Johnson Space Center, we're building a facility for Regulus research. So we just want to advertise it to the community so you guys are aware of it. The name is Hermes, and so just keep Hermes in mind. You'll be hearing more and more about it. Hopefully we'll give a more formal presentation at SBAG this summer. So just Hermes in a nutshell. So you may have heard of an experiment called Strata-1. So a lot of folks from SBAG were part of that science team, and we're still working on data from Strata-1. So this was a one-year experiment on the ISS. And so we've got a microgravity experimental facility we're launching on SBAG20, which isn't until this summer, but we're hoping to deliver hardware at the end of March. So it's a reconfigurable on-orbit facility. And so basically what we have is 4 experiments at a time. And so you can see each of these is one of the experiments. And so it's a tube about the size of like a Pringles can that you can fill with simulants and basically watch the simulants evolve over time in microgravity. And so it's almost completely autonomous, very limited crew interaction. We command everything from the ground. And again, it's focused on Regulus investigations, asteroid and small body investigations, any sort of granular material type research. Okay, and just, the ISS is a perfect place to study asteroids, so not just the microgravity environment, but the crew, 24-hour crew cycle could be analogous to a diurnal cycle, for instance. We have a vacuum, so that's something new with Hermes that we didn't have with Strata, is we're actually hooking up to the vacuum resource system on the ISS. So we are actually have a port to space, essentially, in our experiment, which is pretty cool. And then impacts, right? So we have impacts from, Soyuz docking, for instance, but also from crew maybe bumping into our experiment. And we monitor all of the accelerations with a really fancy ISS device called SAMS that's on board Hermes. So this is just a couple pictures of the CAD model of Hermes. So it's about the size of like a microwave. Okay, and then just high level kind of an advertisement for what Hermes does. So, right, it's not just microgravity exposure, it's long duration microgravity exposure. So these experiments are expected to run somewhere between 3 months and a year. So power, of course, we provide power to the experiments. We provide vacuum, like I mentioned. So we have lighting that will light up the experiments, and then cameras. So we have a camera, in this case, we have a camera pointed at each of the 4 experiments, but a lot of that's integrated on the ground, so we could put cameras wherever we needed to. So we can have up to 4 cameras. So like I mentioned, we monitor the acceleration. And one of the cool things is the experiment tools. So we have a little device inside the tubes called the entrapulator that actually holds the material in place during launch. And then it pulls back and allows the material to move around so that you can see the particles moving in microgravity. But now what we have is the capability to have up to 7 tools per experiment. So this time around, we've got 4 sensors, load cells, a vibration motor in one of the tubes. So as long as it meets our thermal and power requirements, pretty much we have all sorts of different electrical connections to accommodate different types of tools. And then command and data handling. So we do all of that control from the ground. So if you wanted to turn on your vibration motor or take more pictures, all of that is done by us, by the users from the ground, without crew interaction. And then we downlink all the data. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just what we're doing right now, right? So I mentioned we're delivering hardware at the end of March. So we're in the middle of testing. So I wasn't able to attend as much of SBAG as I wanted because we were actually over at the Sonny Carter facility off-site here doing some command and data handling testing. And we have our really big test, our integrated test at Marshall Space Flight Center at the end of March, or end of February, rather. So anyway, that's it. So if you have questions, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Paul Abel, who's part of the team, Mark Fries, who's a part of this group as well. And there's other folks, like I mentioned, that are part of the science team that are involved in SBAG that can tell you more as well. Any questions?
Okay, thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
Okay, whatever your watch says, in 5 minutes, we will start the discussion of